Well, hello to everybody here. It's Teresa Sanderson with you for another episode of Dare to Do Nursing Differently. I have an amazing guest with me today. This is Dr. Terry Carter, and Terry is a nurse leader, and she's also the founder of Terry International Consulting, and leads the Empowered Nurse Leaders Summit, which is a free, amazing online event for nurses and nurse leaders around the world. And the next one is coming up here in just a couple of weeks. So I'm excited to have Dr. Terry Carter with us today to talk about what her work is all about in the field of nursing, in supporting nurse leaders, and also to share a little bit about what's going on with the summit. So welcome, Dr. Terry.
Thank you so much, Teresa, for having me here. And thank you for all that you do for the nurses, with the nurses feed their young. It is a good movement. I love it, and I love what you do. For us, for this opportunity, thank you also for our Empowered Nurse Leader Summit. As you know, you've been one of our speakers, and we do a great job of reaching our nurse leaders across the globe, especially post-COVID-19, for those nurse leaders who don't have enough time to go to the EAP or do not have enough time to look at other things. So we structure the summit in such a way that they can listen for 10 minutes, then they can stop, then go ahead and listen for another 10 minutes whenever they have a break. And it is pre-recorded, and it is there throughout the year if they want to become lifetime members. And so we serve them in that way because we found out they're struggling and they're suffering silently. As you know, we nurses have had I want to say we have normalized self-sacrifice in such a way that even when we become nurse leaders, it carries on with us. So that self-sacrifice, we are trying to make it to where people can reclaim their voices, they can reclaim their imagination in a profession that has already normalized self-sacrifice. So how do they break that? It is about honoring the essence of nursing, as nursing compassion, nursing advocacy, and nursing service, while also refusing the roles and the expectations that deplete nurses at the cost of their well-being.
Yeah. Wow, you said a mouthful. Right? It's, thinking about the culture of nursing, it's really like an onion. There are so many layers of what is wrong, what has been systemically wrong for so long. And so, many nurse leaders today, they're carrying moral distress, burnout, identity fatigue, and often they carry it quietly, silently even. And from your experience, though, with the kind of work you do, what actually helps leaders restore their clarity and confidence, not just temporarily, but in a lasting way?
Actually, I use your word when we say that, you dare to do nursing differently. And so our summits, and we also we have the summits, we also follow up with our retreats, and we also have our online presence, the modules that we do, because we have like the Empowered Edge, where nurse leaders can go for 12 weeks working on whatever it is. Is it boundary setting that is a problem that they're having? Is it burnout? And initially when we started doing this work, it was totally different than now, because it was just after COVID and everybody was so burnout. And some of us did not even realize that we were burnout until we found out what we were doing that was actually the subtle signs of burnout. For instance, we found nurses were drinking. Usually you take 2 cups of coffee a day or 3 cups of coffee a day. You find yourself drinking over 5 cups of coffee a day because you're stressed out and you're burnout, but you still keep going. As I said about self-sacrifice, you keep going and you keep going. So we dare to do nursing differently. How? But building leadership ecosystems through summits, through retreats, and through the education that center the nurse as a whole human being, not just as a role or a title. Because you find you could be even when you are the nurse leader, you could be the CNO of that organization, but you're still a mom. You are still a member of the community. You're still a member of your church. You're still an educator, maybe an educator somewhere. So we just make it to where the center of the nurse will be as a whole human being, not just their title. My work usually focuses on restoring clarity, restoring boundaries, and restoring identity so that people can read in alignment rather than exhaustion. And right now, we see the people have already identified, okay, I was burnout. Now what the breakthrough is here. And now we can evaluate opportunity. Now, what really sets our work apart at the Empowered Nurse Leaders is that we do not ask the nurse leaders or the nurses to adapt adversely to systems that are broken. And when I say systems that are broken, I'll give you an example. Right now, we are in the midst of the flu season. The flu season is usually treated as a season. As nurses and nurse leaders, we all know that, hey, during the flu season, the patient census is going to be higher because patients will be sick. And so the census is going to be higher. Our nurses also are going to be sick. So we staff accordingly. So we approve overtime, we approve that. And if something falls apart, like there's something wrong, we do not go and say, oh God, what's wrong with these patients? Or what is wrong with my nurses? Yeah. We go on and say, you know what, it is the flu season. So we understand that that is a system problem. It's a systemic problem. But when we have things like burnout is put like it's a personal problem. If somebody is burnout, the first thing that comes out from their leader or from others is that, oh God, he or she cannot cope. He or she needs help. Instead of looking at it as a system problem and see, hey, just as we have the flu season, look at it differently and say, you know, what have we added into their plate? For instance, if you have a manager and the manager is day shift or night shift, and now the day shift manager is out, and so the night shift manager is carrying the role of both day shift, and that is role compression. So that is a system problem that is causing the burnout for that leader. It is not a personal problem. And if we start looking at it from, hey, these systems, they are not catching up with where the leaders are, or we start acknowledging, hey, we need to shift. And it is only in nursing that we find that, especially in leadership, we find that somebody will be assigned you have two departments. Then the leader of the other department leaves, and then you get to take care of the other department as well. That is the role drift. And you find that whatever you are hired for, sometimes it is not even what you're doing.
Yes.
And so we have to look. So what we look at it is, let us differentiate. Let us set the work apart and let us see what is it that is our work in alignment. And also, are we in alignment as nurse leaders? That is what I do.
Wow. And this is so powerful. I've said many times, I will never fault our nurse leaders for not being able to lead when they are constantly pulled into staffing, especially our middle nursing managers, our unit managers. How can they lead when they're expected to fill the staffing gaps? There is no way. So it's an unrealistic expectation. They're set up truly not to be successful, not necessarily to fail, but not to be overly successful, right, in their role. So come performance review time, you're stumbling along, you're doing your best with what you have, but have you met any objectives? Have you been able to do the work, the leadership work that you wanted to do to impact the unit, right?
That is so true. And that is actually one of the things that has happened. And we have you can look and you ask the nurse leaders, do you really want to do this? And majority of them, especially at the mid-level, like managers, directors, they leave within their 3, 4, 5 years. They are done. They are like, okay, this is not what I signed up for, because it's not only stressful, the expectations are not in alignment, not only with the organization, but also with the individual living area. Because today, like you mentioned, if you're a manager, you even the like to do, hey, and you're leading as a manager. Mm-hmm. Then tomorrow somebody calls in. Now you're pulled into staffing. Your work as a manager does not stop, although right. You're doing the bedside work. And on it goes. So you are lagging behind. And when you're lagging behind, then it becomes a performance issue.
Yes.
And as long as we continue looking at leadership, and not only leadership, as nursing as a performance instead of a steward. We give us the resources, then let's take care of the patients, and let's take care of the patients wholly after we've taken care of our leaders. Now, that gap, and the main challenge that really sparked my work, my desire to lead something new, was the gap that sparked my work was the normalization of burnout and the silent suffering among nurse leaders. Like they would be, oh my goodness, I was in staffing 3 days this week, I still have to catch up. Or, I have to take care of my day shift staff because my night shift manager is out, or I have to take care of the night shift, all those extra performance issues. And that, I watched very capable, compassionate nurses lose themselves while they were being praised for resilience, because the more is added to you, Terry can handle that. And I was one of those, because I could not say no. I'm like, yeah, I can handle that. But there was little space for restoration. There was little place for reflection, little space for reimagining leadership beyond survival. It was like, okay, I have to survive this. I have to perform, and performance review is coming, and God forbid this is going on. So it was like, there's something better than this. And for all the nurse leaders who are listening out there, all the nurses who are listening, because you've been tired and you're going into nursing and going, this is not what I thought it was going to be. No, there is an easier way, and there is a better way. It's only that the systems, the healthcare system has not caught up with what is going on. Yes, we moved away. Florence Nightingale started us, and Florence Nightingale moved out from holding the lamp to electricity. We can now flip electricity. But by flipping electricity means that we do not even have time to sleep. Even our patients don't have time to sleep. Because why? We have to make sure that they are comfortable. Their scores are coming. There's metrics to be met. There's a lot of noise in the metrics that is going on that we still need to fix. Yes, so we have progressed from the time of like the Florence Nightingale lamp, or the times we used to have the cardexes. I don't know whether you are there when we are using the cardex.
Yeah.
When we were doing the vital signs and doing the vital signs, putting them with there was a red pen, a blue pen, and a black pen for both different shifts, and you put the temperature and you hang the clipboard by the bedside. We moved from that to putting it online. But how far have we moved with our compassion? We've read our nurses, even at the bedside. They don't have time to speak to the patient. They are in there with the computer and going like, I got your aspirin, I got your metoprolol, and I also got your Lasix. And the patient is going like, you got my what? Because they are not even looking at the patient.
Right.
They don't have that time. So what we've removed a few, but we have just kept adding and adding and adding and adding.
Wow. I absolutely agree, and I think what I'm hearing the most is something that I definitely agree with is, nurses are holistic, right? We provide holistic care, but we are also holistic creatures. And so we need and deserve the same level of holistic care that we provide to our patients.
Yes.
Right? I mean, it's just, how did we miss the mark so far? I don't know. Now, one thing, Terry, you've been talking about is alignment. I think that there are probably many nurses, perhaps, who don't understand what the term alignment is. Maybe they've never, as you said, nurses, I feel like we graduate nursing school and we put on our running shoes and we never stop. We never stop, right? So we don't have time to think about, is my job in alignment, with me? I don't have, it sounds like an interesting concept, Terry, but what really is alignment? Tell us a little bit about what it means to live an aligned life, have a career that's aligned with your life.
So, you know, once the term alignment itself, and sometimes it is misused, but in nursing, as you say, we start with the best of the motives. We are going to be nurses and we're going to heal people and we're going to change the world and make a difference of the people who are sick. And we start in a very simple way, which is called the nursing process. And the nursing process has 4 steps. All of us nurses know, and we've been through it. And you have to assess your patients, you have to talk to your patients, and you assess the situation. Then you evaluate after you do your nursing diagnosis. You finish the nursing diagnosis, you implement, then you implement your actions. And after the implementation, you do the evaluation. Now, when you are doing all those things, that is what you know to do. But in the midst of all those things, there comes other things that are in play that you do not have control of. One, right now we are talking about workplace violence. The patient that you're supposed to assess is the patient who is going to kick you and hit you and call you names.
Right.
So that is interruption. That changes everything. Then, not only that, you have to attend so many other things other than the patient in order for you to be compliant. Simple things. You got to make sure that you talk in this way to where the patient's scores, when the patient satisfaction scores come, they reflect that the patient got the message that you wanted them to get. Mm-hmm. Well, you can still do it while you're doing your assessment. It is like you have to be taught a different language, which is good because we learn the different language while in school. But each organization that you work with also gives you a different language. So where should alignment start? Before you accept any job, you have your nursing license, you have your nursing career, you gotta create your own vision. You're gonna create your own values. You can say, this is one thing I will not compromise. Not because of the license, not because of my license, not because of the work that I'm doing, nothing. No, but as a human being, this is my vision. As a human being, this is going to be my mission. And as a human being, these are my values. Mm-hmm. And when I talk of values, most people think about traditions and all that, which is good. Because you hear people say, yeah, I come from Kenya, and when I got married, I was married to the Carters. They are in Texas. Mm-hmm. They live in Houston. They've been in Houston for years, and they are like 7th generation Texans. So there are some things they'll say, okay, like Thanksgiving. We are the Carters. We always have the pecan pie. That is something that's about a traditional value that you cannot break. So for every Christmas the Thanksgiving party, you cannot show up with a pumpkin pie, or you cannot show up with anything else. If you have to take a pie, you have to take a pecan pie. So, and some of us nurses and nurse leaders, we do that because I've been in leadership for a while, and some folks will come to me and say, I know you say that we have to work every other weekend, but
Mhm.
I cannot work on Saturdays because I am a Sabbatarian and I have to go to church on Saturdays. Then I say, okay, so how are you going to meet your weekend requirement? Oh, I can work every Sunday. The same thing goes to those folks who say, no, next week, every Ash Wednesday, I cannot work on Ash Wednesday because I am a Catholic and we do not work on Ash Wednesday. We go to church.
Mhm.
Oh, I am a Presbyterian and we have to go on church on Sunday. So I can work every Saturday. So those are your values. You cannot compromise those. So have those. And when you have those, then even when you're working, you will be in alignment.
Mhm.
You'll be in alignment with your own values. You'll be in alignment with your own family focus. So that is because if, let's say, you are Sabbatarian and now your work requires you to work on Saturday, even
Yep.
when you work on Saturday because you're afraid of working and you're afraid of losing your job, you are not there. You are angry already. You are going like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to leave this job because they make me work on Saturdays, every other Saturday, and I cannot do that. I cannot miss my services. So that is why I say alignment. And I look at alignment from a bigger area because it's, nursing is just a part of what we do. It should not be a part of who we are.
So powerful.
Yes.
So powerful. And I agree. And, I talk to nurses today. I feel like we're doing very similar things. I talk to them about, think about and decide on the lifestyle you need first, and then get your career to work around that. Because the biggest cause of stress I knew in my own life, after working in traditional nursing and traditional leadership roles, was I was always trying to fit my life into the role I chose. And that really doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. What are non-negotiables? What are those non-negotiables? Those things that we hold near and dear, but we are human first and nurses second.
Yep.
Human first, nurses second. So, my goodness, just a wealth of information today, Terry. I love the work you're doing. As we get ready to close out here, I would love to give you the next few minutes to just share with our listeners and our viewers, how can they connect with the Empowered Nurse Leaders Summit that is coming up soon?
The Empowered Nurse Leaders Summit is one of my favorites. We have these summits, and it's one of my favorite events for our Empowered Nurse Leader group. So, to get to a summit where we have a lot of good speakers, including Teresa is one of our speakers. So you go to empowerednurseleaders.com and you'll sign up. From next week, we open up the registration and you can register. And once you register, you can also enroll for the lifetime. What does the lifetime access mean? The lifetime access means that you will get that into your mailbox, we'll get you into the portal, and you'll be able to see every speaker for as long as you live. And you can see them, and you also get to join our community. And our community, we meet every Tuesday. It is online, it is short. We have a whole hour set for our community, but we also record so you can see anytime. If you're at work, we don't want you to get in trouble when you're at work, but you can watch during your time off, or you can watch in the evenings. We make it very good for you. We give you an opportunity to really see from other leaders who are either in business, who have been nurses themselves, and they have moved on to other areas where they are creating an impact. We also make you see other nurse innovators or entrepreneurs who are doing great things outside of your wall of nursing, especially if you're working in the hospital. We also give you an opportunity to see what is actually possible out there, because you listen to other people, what the things that they are doing, and you go, wow, there is more to nursing than I even think about. So that is a good way. So go to empowerednurseleadersummit.com and you will find us there. Thank you, Teresa.
Oh my gosh, I just love it, Terry. It's always a pleasure to chat with you, and I'm so excited. You know, as Terry mentioned, I'll be a part of the upcoming Empowered Nurse Leaders Summit, and I'm super excited to be a part of it again. But mostly, Terry, I want to congratulate you for the wonderful work that you're doing for nurses and nurse leaders, and for carrying the torch for there being a better way
Yes.
to do nursing. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much. I would just tell the nurse leader, everybody who is listening there, you do not need permission to do something else. You do not need permission to evolve. Start where you are and listen deeply to what is calling you. And trust that you lived the experience that you have as a nurse is not a limitation. It is your greatest credential.
Absolutely.
Step forward, you can do other things and you can do what you're doing better.
Absolutely. All right. To all of our listeners and viewers, I encourage you, get yourself signed up for the Empowered Nurse Leaders Summit. It's going to be an event that you're going to enjoy. And thank you again, Dr. Terry, for joining us. This is the conclusion of this episode of Dare to Do Nursing Differently. We will see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.